Hey, what's up? Can you actually support yourself while you pursue your dreams out here in the United Kingdom? Watch until the end to find out. Before I begin this video, to the 64 people who subscribe to the channel, thank you very much. You guys are the motivation behind this video. So this video is gonna be all about how I worked 7 part-time roles in just under 10 months. I'm not going to be talking a lot about how much money I made and how much I had to spend because the video is going to go about 30 minutes if I do, and I'm going to make an entire video about how much money I made and how much I had to spend in the future. So when I was about to come out here and pursue a master's degree, I was very worried about being able to support myself because my parents were already paying for the university, and that was a lot of money, and I didn't want to ask them for any more. So I kept an eye out for potential part-time roles, and at the University of Birmingham there is an organization called the Guild of Students. So most universities provide part-time roles to students out here in the United Kingdom, and the Guild of Students advertised a bunch of roles, and me being me, I applied to all of the roles, and some of the roles were security assistant, bar assistant, kitchen assistant, to work for tech services. So the team that I heard back from was a security team, and I had an interview, and during the interview I talked about how my father is from the military, and how he brought me up in a very disciplined manner, and how I'm always aware of my surroundings, and fortunately I was able to land the job. So fast forward 2 months into the university, I'm working as a security assistant. I receive an email notification saying that there's an interview to be a student ambassador. So me being me, I applied to that as well. And this time during the interview, I spoke a lot about this one time when I worked in an exhibition selling courses to students. I showed them that I'm very capable of talking about courses and helping people understand what the courses were about. So being a student ambassador is basically, being a sales guy for an university and selling their university and their courses and their facilities. So by showing them that I've got previous experience of doing this, I was able to land the job as a student ambassador as well. So the student ambassador job was very well paid, but there weren't a lot of hours because you only work when the university has open days or any special events happening. So that was one of the disadvantages of being a student ambassador, the lack of availability of hours. And then came Christmas vacation. So the thing is, if you are an international student, you are restricted to work 20 hours during term time. But during vacation, you can work full time. And I was hell-bent on working full time during the Christmas vacation. But unfortunately, the security assistant and the student ambassador roles, they close during the vacation because the university closes for vacation. So I didn't have a job during the vacation. There's this street called Selly Oak near my university where there are plenty of shops. So what I did was I went door to door asking for a part-time role to about 25 shops. And by the time I reached the 26th shop or so, it was a restaurant that made Indian food, but those people were not from India; they were from Bangladesh, and they were like, there is a job to be a kitchen assistant, but the job is 10 miles away from here, and they were like, we're gonna pick you up and drop you off, and we're gonna pay you minimum wage. I was very happy with it, so I go to work. They pick me up. They make me work for 8 hours. So basically, I was washing dishes and cutting onions for most of the 8 hours. And when it was time to pay me, they paid me £25. So to give you guys a bit of a context, the minimum wage here is £9.5 an hour. So I was expecting at least £75 for the work that I did, but they only paid me £25, and they said that that's because I didn't have a lot of training to cut onions and wash dishes. So basically they were trying to rip me off to pay me as less as possible and make me work as much as possible. So there can be incidents like this as well. So you guys got to be careful where you work at, or who you work for. So I would advise working for well-known organizations like Domino's, or work a part-time role in the university to be safe. So this job didn't work out, so I came back home and I started searching for jobs, and I applied to Just Eat and Deliveroo and Uber to be a delivery guy because I had a cycle. I thought it was going to be easy, and I thought I was going to work just around my home delivering food, but that wasn't the case. So during my first shift, I had to cycle 37.5 miles in 5 hours. Now, my cycle is not an electric cycle, it was a push pedal cycle, so it was very intense. And during the second shift, the second day, it started raining as well, unfortunately, and I had a very, very bad time. And I kind of, my tolerance was breached, and I couldn't do it anymore, so I had to quit the job. But the good thing is, Just Eat actually provides an electric cycle for you, but I made a mistake of using my own cycle, so that was why I wasn't able to do the job. So I had to quit that job as well, and then the Christmas vacation was over, so I went back to being a security guy. But there was another vacation approaching, which is the Easter vacation, and I was determined to at least work full time during the Easter vacation, so I actively was applying to part-time roles. And I heard back from a healthcare organization that looks after people with disabilities and old people. So the role was to be a healthcare assistant. So I went to meet the owner of the organization, and we started talking, and he realized that I'm an engineer and I'm very clever. So he was like, why don't you work as a quality improvement specialist, take a look at our processes and try to improve them. So I was very happy. I was more than happy with it, and this was one of the jobs that paid me the most money. So I worked as a quality improvement specialist for about 3 months. I improved their processes, and then came Easter vacation. So I approached these people, the healthcare people, and I let them know that I'm available to work full time. And they were more than happy to give me a role as a healthcare assistant, to go look after a person who's 92 years old. Now, my grandmother used to be a nurse, and I never really appreciated what nurses do. And by working this role and by looking after a 92-year-old person, I learned so much, and I learned to appreciate nurses and the work that they do. And this month was a very good month for me. It was the most amount of money that I've made in a month. So I was looking at a salary of £1,700 for that month. But you know the saying, if anything seems too good to be true, it's probably not true. So I didn't get £1,700. They paid me 1,400. They said travel is not covered. So we had a disagreement, and I had to quit that job as well. So I went back to being a security assistant again, and I knew about this other job. So I'm gonna drop a link to all the part-time jobs that I've done in the description for you guys to check out and apply. So there was this organization called Our Tribe, where you can apply to be a teaching assistant. So what the job basically is you go to schools and you look after classes. You make sure that nobody's copying during an exam, so stuff like that. It's a very good job. You get paid decently as well. So I applied to be a teaching assistant. I got the job, but unfortunately, since it was July, all the schools were about to shut for the vacation, so there weren't a lot of shifts available, so I couldn't work a lot as a teaching assistant. So the final role was to be an intern for a startup. So I was approached by a startup to be a lead intern to arrange a program for the next batch of Indian students, and I was more than glad to do it. And that's what I'm currently doing right now. I'm an intern, and that's about it. So that's how I've worked 7 part-time roles in 10 months. So keep an eye out for future videos on my expenses and how much money I made. So thank you guys again for your time and watching the video. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you want to connect with me, check out my description. There's a list of all my socials. And I'm also providing 1:1 consultation to students to talk about their options, talk about higher education. I've already been getting a lot of meetings from you guys, which is really good. Peace.